got to admit, I need to start taking like Delta 9 gummies before I start watching LSU football games, because if not, I'm going to have a panic attack. Like the first half was as awful as I've seen you play all year, even over Nichols. Guys, listen, we talked about this all week long, literally all week long, that this was honestly and statistically one of the worst teams that you were going to see. They were 133rd on red zone defense. They got a stop in the red zone. They were 126th in the country in total offense. Did not matter. In the first half, they marched the ball right down the field and scored it on you. I mean, guys, that was as bad of a first half as you can simply have. I mean, there's no other slicing or dicing that, right? Like, just absolutely, positively, 1,000% abysmal. Then you come back out at halftime because you stop playing around a little bit. You go on 2 90-plus yard drives with Garrett Nussmeier for touchdowns because you know what? You did not panic about lining up and running the ball for 4 yards to carry and ran the football like a normal human being would. Jaden Daniels has warped our minds of what it's like to run the football. I mean, I got Michigan and USC on right now, right here. Michigan came back because they'd line up and go for 4 yards and run the football and beat a team that you lost to. Because they can line up and go for 4 yards. And we're just like, oh, well, we got to throw it 44 times. I mean, you get Caden Durham 3 touches in the first half. Then you get him his 4th touch early in the fourth quarter, and then he goes for a touchdown. We have no identity of who we are. By the way, the red zone is still abysmal. Guys, quite honestly, it's abysmal. You went to Kyron Lacy 5 times in the red zone. 5 times in the red zone. He didn't do anything. Now, I'll give UCLA this. I'll 100% will give UCLA this. They got a really good corner, and Kyron Lacy was a non-factor. Non-factor. They didn't do anything special on you. I mean, Jesse Palmer's pointing that out in the second half that they do nothing pretty on him. Go to Aaron Anderson in the red zone. Find somebody else in the red zone. Now, let me get to the second half. But before I do that, I need to remind you that every postgame show is brought to you by our good friends over at betonline.ag. Guys, you need to go over there. By the way, I had a lot of people, a lot of national media members, and I know that y'all watch our postgame shows. A lot of national guys over at Crane Co., our good buddy Bill King, etc., asked me if I was taking LSU plus the 23, or minus the 23, excuse me. And I said, no, I took UCLA minus 23.5. I bought myself an extra point because this is typical LSU. You're always playing down to the level of your opponent. Where did I place that bet at? BetOnline.ag. Use that promo code BELIEVE50 at checkout. You'll receive a 50% off welcome bonus on your first deposit. That way they know that AYS sent you on by. Also, our good friends over at The Athletic Collection, go shop-tac.com. That's shop-tac.com. You can use that promo code AYS at checkout. You'll get 20% off of your purchase. All the official LSU gear you get from there because they are licensed and registered with almost a lot of teams in the SEC. Christmas right around the corner, birthdays. You want to get somebody a really nice hoodie, shirt, whatever. You can get it at our friends over at theathletic.com, The Athletic Collection shop/TAC.com. Also, we are going to take phone calls. We'll do that at the end of the show, but you know the drill here. If you want comments read, what do? People that are in here every single week, tell them what to do. Show them what to do. Send in those super chats if you want your comments read. We will get to them. Guys, the first half, or I'll get to the second half. Well, let's do second half, then we'll break down the game. Second half, Brian Kelly must have chewed their ass. Because I got to be real with you. A lot of this is execution. Now, I do think that Blake Baker got absolutely schemed up by a guy that's won multiple Super Bowls and Eric Bieniemy. I'm going to be real with you. But a lot of things that you were doing in the back end was because, quite honestly, you were out of position. You didn't know where to be. It seemed like, just to be real with you, you felt like that you were taking on a UCLA team that wasn't any good. You did not buy into what you needed to do, and it's something that we discussed all week. That happened in the second half. Guys, they didn't score. Quite honestly, the pressure that your defensive front has put on the last 3 weeks, actually, all 4 games has been highly impressive. You're not going to be passive. Braden Swinson at the current moment, now Braden has not really busted out against a really good opponent. He'll get that in a couple weeks. Hell, he'll get it next week. Y'all see South Alabama clapping those ever-living cheeks all up and down the field when they go out to the Appalachian Mountains, clapping them cheeks. 1 cheek, 2 cheeks, clapping both of them. Didn't matter. However, I mean, guys, defensively, you do good things, but you give up 13 plays of 10-plus yards or more. The start of the second half, you get bailed out because they try to run a fake reverse screen pass to the running back. It's a fumble, gets them out of field goal range. They got a punt. You go 90 yards and a score, and let's go to that. Let's go to that 14-play drive. Well, Mr. Blake, how many times did you run the football on a defense, which, by the way, I'm going to throw this out there, on a defense that was 28th in the country in rushing defense? Their rushing defense is really good. Something else we talked about all week. Williams goes for 6. Williams goes for 1. Taylor goes for 33. Nuss has to throw a ball away. He misses C.J. Daniels. You have a delay of game penalty. So now you got 3rd and 5. Williams for 7. Durham, catch, 5. Daniels, hitch, 4. Taylor, slant, 7. Oh, then you just run the ball for the rest of the time. Williams, 6. Williams, 3. Williams, 4. Lacey fade, PI in the end zone. Williams, 2-yard run for a touchdown. I have no idea what Brian Kelly said at halftime. You lined up and did what every team in the country that doesn't have a quarterback like Jaden Daniels or Taylor Green at Arkansas, what you need to do. Eventually, one of those is going to bust out. I promise you, at some point, one of those is going to bust for long. Caleb Jackson came in the second half, looked good. You got to be methodical when you run the goddamn football. Nevertheless, you get another stop. You get another stop on UCLA. I look at the second half. Okay, you go on 11-play drive. Anderson, Aaron Anderson needs the football. Sorry. Aaron Anderson needs the football. I'm tired of forcing stuff to Kyron Lacey. You want to tell me he's double covered? I know football better than that, and I know that he's not. You need to get the football to number 1. Stop this Olay bullshit in reference to trying to get him the football. Get number 1 the football. Get number 1 the football. Anderson goes for 12. You got back-to-back checkdowns that total for 20 yards. Jackson gets 7 yards on 2 carries. Actually, 7 yards on 2 carries. Gets a check down, then runs for another 5. Nuss has to throw the ball away. Daniels gets a hitch on 3rd and 2. That gets called back, and then 3rd and 8. Taylor 8 yards. Then Durham on a check down touchdown. So what did you do in the second half? I feel like you finally had enough. Guys, you literally lined up and ran the football and beat their ass. On a team who, quite honestly, you should be able to line up on and beat their ass. Now, I thought in the second half you did really good. You kept the ball away from them. I thought you out schemed them because, look, man, if we can't make stops, which actually you did make stops on every drive in the second half, but if we're going to be chaotic in how we do it, okay, we're going to take the ball and run it right at them, and they can't stop it. You got your playmakers, the football. Go figure. Guys, Kyron Lacy was a non-factor today. I mean, quite honestly, was a non-factor. I know he got some of the PI calls. There were big calls, but essentially a non-factor. So it was what it was. Let's go to the first half here. Guys, the first possession was beautiful. The first 15 plays that you ran offensively was beautiful. And I felt like, you know what, man? Finally, LSU is going to come out and start and do what they need to do. They didn't. Lacy, in route, 17. Williams, run, 4. Aaron Anderson, 21-yard slant, again. You need to get him the football. He goes for a screen for 6. Williams, counter run, 23 yards. Then a pop pass to Xavier Thomas for a touchdown. By the way, every team in the country knows that when Xavier Thomas comes into the game, that you're going to do some form of trick play with him. And I see somebody just asked me in the comments if I'm mad. I'm not mad. I'm aggravated because I don't think any of you, because a lot of you didn't really, you just thought you're going to blow UCLA out this week. You didn't go to watch shows. We didn't have conversations. We didn't have discussions about it. I know that we did. Am I mad? No, I'm aggravated. I'm highly aggravated because you're a better team than this. You have better potential than this. Like the first drive when you can line up and run it right at them and hit them with a 1-2 uppercut or hit them with a straight right like Anthony Joshua got hit with today when he got flatlined. No, I'm aggravated because you do have veteran talent. Veteran talent who, quite honestly, continues to make the same mistakes, and we're not doing anything about it. Now, you play Major Burns, and then you take him out for Jordan Gilbert, and every single drive that Jordan Gilbert came in on, you got stops. Why? Because he's a grown-up and knows what he's doing. You post on social media that Chris Hilton's back. You're in a dogfight, and you don't use him. Now, did you have some really good plays in the first half? Yes. But you're asking me already if I'm mad. No, I'm not mad. I'm highly aggravated. First possession was flawless. But so was their first possession. Because when I look at it, all right, Major Burns got picked apart. They went at number 8. Every single play in the air went at number 8. Garber gets no gain. Flores slant for 6 in the slot. Burns 3rd and 4. Bubble pass. Bubble screen. Bobbled pass, excuse me. Bobbled pass on a check down that goes for 28. Major Burns is in the middle of the field when we're supposed to be playing man-to-man. Harden gets a 2-yard run. Flores slant 6 on Burns, tackle, 3rd and 2. Incomplete on a screen. They go for it on 4th down. Same play that they ran on the 3rd down previous to the opposite side. Major Burns runs middle of the field. He needs to be in man-to-man coverage. I mean, guys, this is as cookie cutter. I don't know. 4th and 2, they get 13. Peterson, tight end, post route, Burns, touchdown. Second drive offensively, you look like ass. Anderson, hitch route, 11. Daniels, hitch route, 3. Williams, no gain. So now you Williams, no gain twice. Or Williams, no gain. Williams for 3. Lacy drops the post on 3rd and 7. Guys, I don't know anymore. I don't know. Those are simple things from veteran players that while you're in a dogfight against UCLA, guys, here's the truth. Let me and you have a conversation. Let's stop at drive 2. Let me and you have a conversation. The God's honest truth is that you should have blown them out. You should have blown them out. You should have never been in the same stratosphere at being tied at halftime with them. By the way, just going to let you know, y'all think this is a game? South Alabama's coming in here next week. And in the last 2 weeks, they've scored 87 points, and they damn near put up another 87 points, or could have, against App State. Go ahead and play around with them. You had no killer instinct. At least you don't show it. You play up or down to the level of your opponent. Now, I know that you're banged up. You got multiple guys in the interior of their defense that are banged up. That doesn't matter, which, by the way, guys, in the first half, they ran all over you. Your interior defensive line got absolutely abused. Absolutely, positively, 1,000% abused. If Gio Paez or JVR Suggs can't get it done, play the freshman. Because let me tell you this. I do have a little old school, the way that I think about football. Guys, if you cannot be somewhat handy capable of just not being pushed around like a buggy at Walmart, then I don't know what to tell you. You did a lot better in the second half, but you got pushed around. 3rd and 7, Lacey drops a post. 4th and 7, Nuss, incomplete. Probably should have been pass interference on Xavier Thomas. They didn't call it. Let me stop right there. Nuss had a really good day. Nuss missed a lot of really wide open throws. Now, I know our buddy Carter Bryant is going to do the film breakdown. Guys, there were multiple guys open in the middle of the field. Here's what I think's happening. I think that Garrett Nussmeier is preconceiving where he needs to go with the football before he needs to go with the football. Because if he's right, he's really right. If he's wrong, he's really, really wrong. The hitch route guys, Xavier Thomas is 5'8". And you're going to him and throwing a hitch route on the boundary when you have Kyron Lacey, who I understand just dropped a pass in the middle of the field, but Kyron Lacey has got 2 steps on a safety in the middle of the field. That is unacceptable. It's unacceptable. The drop, when you make the right read and then not hitting him on the read. By the way, again, I told you this. Bet Online. I'm going to get in touch with our friends over at Bet Online. Bet Online needs to put an odd out on Garrett Nussmeier missing C.J. Daniels in the end zone for a touchdown. Any part during the game. Mr. Wide Open Kyron Lacey. You come back. Garber's incomplete. Jones for them goes for 2. 3rd and 8. He hits a corner route for 29 yards. You want to guess on who? Want to guess who? Want to guess who? Guess who the coverage is on? Harden goes for 4. Incomplete pass. Swinson had pressure, almost got a sack. 3rd and 7. You get a sack. 2 or 3 guys were around the football. I don't know who got it, but you get a sack. Field goal, good. You're down 10-7. 3rd possession, Lacey, fade route, pass interference, UCLA. Taylor, hitch route, 7. Taylor, out route for 6. Emory Jones is hurt, but Emory Jones did come back. So we're going to talk about injuries here tonight, but Emory Jones went out. He did come back. Taylor for 4. Fade route, Parker, 45 yards for a touchdown. Beautiful throw, beautiful catch. How it's drawn up. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. All right. 3rd possession that you have on defense. 95, Sean Washington gets a sack. You have an incompletion. Okay, so this is UCLA's third possession. 95 gets a sack. They throw an incompletion. Braden Swinson gets a sack. Stop right there. You're up 14-10. This is what I talk about all the time when I say stuff like this. When you now have gotten 2 stops, you get a field goal and then you get a stop, a 3 and out. You got to go put up 7. This is why Rudy Poo ass teams stay around with you, because you get a 3 and out to start the game in the second half. You go into your 4th possession. So you got Sean Washington. Guys, when's the last time, I know that Mason Smith did this, but in the regular season, when's the last time that you've seen an interior defensive lineman in the regular season get a sack against a P4 opponent? Now, last time you got one was against Wisconsin. Okay? That's a bowl game. Mason Smith got it. You had none last year in the interior of your defensive line. So you're up 14-10. You need to go put this game away. Start putting this game away. You can't accomplish that. Here's why. Caden Durham, run, 5. Nussmeier misses Anderson on a fade route. Would have been a touchdown. Anderson was by himself. By himself. 3rd and 6. Nuss has to call a timeout. By the way, he called a timeout with 11 seconds left to go on the clock. He needs to learn how to run that down. I don't know. Taylor, out route, 13 yards, first down. Lacey, fade, incomplete. Durham, run, 1. So predictable. You don't get to hit the fade route on first down. You come back and run and get a yard. It's bass-ackwards on how he calls plays sometimes. 3rd and 9. Nuss misses Taylor. Here's a big thing. The pass that almost got picked. Thank God it didn't, but it was an incompletion. By the way, the first P4 opponent in the first 4 starts now that Nuss has not thrown an interception against. 3rd and 9, you got to punt. You punt inside the 5. Doesn't matter, though, because the defense is going to come right back out, and they're going to get you another stop, and you can't go get 7. Here's what I'm talking about. So we look at the defense giving up 17 points in the first half. Not good. I will give Eric Bieniemy 2 drives. That man has won multiple Super Bowls as an OC. All right, you've given up 10 points. But then you can't go get 7 from your offense. Let's turn around. So you got to punt inside the 5. Harden gets 2. They got a tight end in the flat. Deshaun Womack gets a batted down pass. Hitch route on Ashton Stamps for 12. Jones goes for 3. Savion Jones gets a stop. Garber scrambled on 3rd and 4 for 17 yards. Braden Swinson turns right around, gets a strip sack. So again, you're getting a stop, and then you're getting a turnover, and then you can't go get 7. Guys, that's a minimum. Let's just say a minimum of 6, which in retrospect would have made this game 40-17. Guys, it's the same song and dance every week. It's the same exact song and dance every single week. You defensively, you go out there and either get a turnover or get a stop, and you can't do jack diddly shit with it. You're the most, guys, I've never in my life seen a team that can get stops and turnovers, and then their offense goes so anemic that you have to capitalize on defensive stops and defensive turnovers. Guys, you didn't capitalize but once on the 3 turnovers you got. That's why you had 2 90-yard drives in the second half. God bless This is what aggravates the dog manure out of me. This right here. Because you would have given billions, yes, with a B, billions of dollars to have this exact defense with Jane Daniels a year ago. I don't know anymore, man. I just don't know anymore. But to wrap up the first half, they come back out, and because your defense has been on the field for the last 20 minutes, because your offense can get nothing after you basically have a 3-and-out in your own goddamn self, you get a field goal, but, I mean, you're hardly on the field. They go down the field and score on you. It's bass-ackwards, man. It's bass-ackwards. All right, let's get to a couple super chats, then we'll go through the stats, and then we'll get the phone calls here. Andrew Jordan with a $9.99 super chat says, do you miss Tommy? Tommy who? I feel like we're weaker without him. Tommy. Are you talking about Tommy Moffitt? I mean, I feel like Tommy had ran his course, to be honest with you, Andrew. I don't think that you're necessarily weaker. I mean, because here's the thing, man. I mean, like, what does Jake Flint get for what those guys offensively look like last year? Like the transformation you saw in 22 to 23 with Jaden Daniels and the weight that he put on. Guys, that don't happen without Jake Flint. I'm sorry, it doesn't. You know, like some of the injuries you've had, I mean, guys, you're going to get beat up. I mean, there's nothing that Jake Flint can do about an Achilles injury with Jacoby and Guillory. Jake Flint didn't make Harold Perkins have such bad technique for him to try to hit stick somebody and it backfired on him. And then he hurts his knee somehow. Hopefully that's okay. I still think that you need Harold Perkins. Like, I'm going to go out there and say that. I mean, but he hurts his knee. Hopefully it's not bad. I'm sure Brian Kelly has given some form of update or will give some form of update. But I don't know. That's not on Jake Flint. And here's the thing, Andrew, to your point. What did you do in the second half? You lined up, ran it right at him, and punched him in the mouth. You had multiple – I mean, that's exactly what you did in the second half. All you did was lined up, and you ran it right at him. That felt like more Brian Kelly than I've ever seen Brian Kelly before. To be real, I'm going to say this, and it's going to backfire on me with this coaching staff. But I felt like the identity of Brian Kelly was more on that drive than any time that we've seen in LSU. Those two 90-yard drives felt like Brian Kelly. It felt like Notre Dame. I mean, you lined up and did exactly what you needed to do on him. Just being real with you. We'll see. Let's see what happens when we get to Andrew. Let's see what happens when we get to the SEC. Do I think you're weaker? No. I mean, we remember how bad that team was at the end of the Orgeron regime. And here's the thing, Andrew, not to stay on this question for too long. At some point, like, let me ask y'all this. Or Andrew, let me ask you this. If these guys won't take games seriously like Nichols and UCLA, what makes me believe that they they mentally take things serious in the weight room? Guys, it's look, we're in an era in NIL, which I support NIL. I support the portal. I mean, you as an LSU fan should support the portal based off of the players that you've gotten out of it. Paul Skeens, Jaden Daniels. I mean, like Joe Burrow, whatever. Angel Reese, Tommy Tanks. You should love the portal more than any other school, okay? The problem that I have, okay, with blaming someone like Jake Flint is mainly due to the fact that you're not showing me that you have that mentality right now, right? Like, you're not showing me that you have the mentality to be a killer, right? Like, you never show me that ever. So if you're not going to take games seriously, what makes me think that you're going to take anything else seriously? I mean, I just don't feel like you will. Colin Malone with a $5 super chat. Thank you, Colin. I'm sure you had a question. We'll try to get it to it. Guys, if interns, if we can flag it, flag it. Drew Boudreaux says, we're missing leaders on this team. 100%. 100%. I mean, you 1,000% are. I mean, like, and then your leaders are making mental mistakes, right? Like, you cannot have Will Campbell making those same mistakes every week. Guys, Will Campbell's gotten more false start penalties this year than he had in the last 2 years combined. Some of these guys that think that they're going to the league right now, they look like that they need to come back. They play with sometimes, not all the times, sometimes they play with no heart. But then mentally, they get themselves right, and then the second half happens. Guys, I thought the second half, because you had to go on 2 90-plus yard drives, I mean, guys, you were as flawless as you needed to be. Guys, the second half was as good as you can. It was really good. I mean, it was. I thought a lot of things that you did in the second half was really good. But what's aggravating to me is stuff like what we just mentioned. That drives me insane. Drives me bonkers. Bonkers. Hell Mendoza with a $5 super chat says, BK nailed it on the head. We're consistently inconsistent. 1,000%. Same problems, different week. Also, shout out to JMU. They put up a 70 burger on UNC. Yeah, that never should happen. That never should happen. Ever. I don't get it. I don't understand. Guys, I logically can't understand it. So am I mad? No. I'll say this. Do I think you're a good football team right now? No, I don't. No, I don't. Do I think that you have the capability of being one? Yeah, actually, I do. And people are going to disagree with me on that. That's fine. You're not playing like one. Can you be one? Yes. And I think that is why Brian Kelly is more frustrated than anything. I do think that they've recruited talent. What I don't think that they've done well is whatever mentality that locker room has at the current moment, it's not a good one. And I think, this is what I also think. I think that some parts of this coaching staff needs to let people do their jobs. Like, you have player personnel people for a person. You got to let them do their jobs. That's what I'm going to say. But all the dysfunction and chaos, guys, be honest with you, if they would have kept going to you on the boundary, you would have gotten your asses whooped. But at the same token, you won. You won because you got your shit in line in the second half. You got your shit in line in the second half. Jake Cole says, game wasn't so fun to watch, but I watched it from the hospital with my new baby boy in my arms. Not a bad day over here. Go Tigers. Congratulations, Jake. Nothing as amazing. Nothing as amazing as having a kid. Andy says bullshit. All right, Andy, you ready? No defensive talent. They've misevaluated horribly on defense. Then explain Braden Swinson. Explain right now at the current moment leading the SEC and being fourth in the country at this exact moment in sacks. I know that you can do it. I know for a fact you can. Misevaluated where? Brian Kelly inherited Major Burns. The problem with Brian Kelly is he's not taking Major Burns out. That's not a misevaluation on him. That is him feeling that Major Burns gives him a better chance to win when arguably he doesn't. It's just the truth. And I'll tell you this too, Andy, to be real with you, okay, you got a 3-and-out on defense in the first half, and then you forced a turnover. Andy, how many points did you get on offense? Did you talk about the 6 incompletions that Garrett Nussmeier threw on those 2 drives to wide open or where he had receivers that were wide open that he missed? You're not playing cohesive football. When you're making stops, you don't get points. And then when you get points, you give up points. But I dare anyone to come in here and explain Braden Swinson, who had a really good game today. Because you can't explain Braden Swinson. Andrew sends a $5 super chat, says, if we're going to throw up fade routes in the end zone, then why not at least go to a 6'6" or 6'7" tight end and Pimpton or Green? 1,000% agree with it. You know, Jesse Palmer came out today and said that look, man, I mean, it's worked once, but this fade route to Lacey doesn't work. And they keep going to it because for whatever reason, Sloan either has been told by Garrett that that's what he likes and where he wants to go, or Sloan thinks it's nice and where he wants to go. You got to get away from Kyron in the red zone and let other guys eat. Things will be there for him if other guys eat in the red zone. Then here's what else makes me very aggravated. Only thing that we do with CJ Daniels is this damn little hitch route or in route. Can we find something for him to do? I wouldn't mind moving CJ Daniels in the slot in those bunch formations. Give them another look. Hey, use your brain. This isn't an offense or defensive thing because I can make an argument for either side being and having moments of being really good. What I can't do is come out here and say that you've put an entire game together. Guys, to be honest with you, the last good game that you put together from start to finish was Alabama in 22. That's the last really good game that you put together. Where when you needed a score or a stop, you went down there and you got one. What separates teams from being good to really great is that separation that when your defense or offense does something good, the other side can stop it. Now, the red zone, guys, we're abysmal there. And somebody's got to take that part over. Somebody's got to. By the way, Xavion Thomas on that pop pass almost got ran down by a defensive end. They know where you're going. They know what you're doing. You're as predictable of the outcome is as predictable for what you're doing in the red zone as if you saw a teenage boy with a Playboy magazine. What do you think he's doing with the Playboy magazine? Thank you for the super chat. Colin with another 5-1 says, is common sense hard or is common sense football hard to coach? Your show helps with my sanity about this team. Thank you, Colin. I really appreciate it. No, is it? Well, it appears to be. I've never been a coach, so I don't know. But there's got to be a limit, okay, in reference to there's got to be a limit in reference to you as a player wanting to be better. I feel as if, and I don't want to say this is going on with this team, okay? Because I don't know if this is or isn't. What it feels like is that everybody's out to get theirs and they're not a team. And where Brian Kelly is constantly yelling and preaching and organizing and constructing team, and they don't give a shit. Guys, they play to the level of their opponent. I'm going to say this. I thought that the second half was arguably the best half that you've had. Because you went on two 90-yard drives, and you were able to line up and just run the football. UCLA's better than Nichols. Let's just be honest. They would beat Nichols. But that's not where we shouldn't even have to have that conversation. But we do have to have that conversation because, yeah, we got to have the conversation. All right, everybody do us a favor. You're on Facebook, hit the like and share. If you're on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe. Taylor on YouTube with a $10 super chat says, we rarely have wide open or running lanes. I'm glad you said that because I want to bring this up. This is a great super chat. We talked about this all week too. We rarely had wide open running lanes. You had some. Let me stop right there on the running lanes. Sometimes you got to get tough yardage. And Taylor, I'll say this in reference to this game. That team was 28th in the country in rushing defense. They've been really good. They were the number one, which they had some turnover, but not a lot of turnover in the front seven of their defense. There was some, not a lot in the depth pieces of that interior defensive line. They were the number one rushing defense a year ago. Coming into the game, they were 28th. They did some really good things in the running game so far this season. To your point, outside of the Josh Williams 23-yard run, we didn't have a lot, and you're correct. And he says, or wide open receivers. Guys, Indiana, for what it's worth, had multiple wide open receivers throughout their game. I agree that you didn't get a lot of separation at times. However, you had a really good play by Kyle Parker. That wasn't much separation, but there is a guy getting separation. You know who it is? Aaron Anderson. That's the truth. And I talked about it with Carter on Monday. I had a lot of you in my DMs talking shizite about me being crazy. Am I crazy now? No, I'm not. So to your point, yes, you had Indiana that got a lot of separation. LSU could not at times. He also says big plays are usually just players making tough plays instead of creative scheme, getting our playmakers the ball in space. Yeah, I agree. Like Kyle Parker, Josh Williams. I mean, I agree to your point. I agree with that. I agree with that point. George Steele, our good buddy with a $10 super chat, says, how long till CJ checks out not getting the ball? It's a great question, George. Where's the SEC physicality? It left with less. We do have some same good up and coming DNs. Yeah, we do have some really good up and coming DNs. Thought Deshaun Womack looked really good. Your toughness left and physicality has left the building. Now, George, to the point of that, I will say this. In my humble opinion, I thought the way that you ran the football. Well, let's look at this. How many rushing yards, guys, did they have? Can we zoom in on that? I can zoom in, and if not, can y'all see this? Sorry for everybody listening on podcast. Let's look at this. How many rushing yards did LSU have here? 102. You gave up 14 rushing yards. You gave up 14 rushing yards to them. You had 102. I would assume that a lot of that came in the second half. Let's look at it. Yeah, Josh Williams had 62, Caleb Jackson 26, Caden Durham 14. That's just not good enough. And Major Burns didn't have a run. Juwan Johnson did. I'm looking at this. Mason Taylor had a hell of a game, man. Mason Taylor had one hell of a game, 8 catches, 77 yards. That's another guy that needs to get the football. So to the point, I need to go back and look at it. I think that you had 40 yards rushing in the first half, but I thought you looked, maybe stats won't look at it. I thought and feel you were much better running the football in the second half, as we talked about it in the first part of the show. So thank you all for the super chats. But I agree. The SEC physicality doesn't feel to be there. All right. Let's get to this. Let's look at some of these stats here. Garrett Nussmeier went 32 of 44 for 352 and 3 touchdowns. That's flawed. Josh Williams, 13 carries, 62 yards, and a touchdown, longest of 23 that came on the opening drive. Caleb Jackson, 6 of 26 for 8. Mason Taylor, 8 catches, 77 yards. Aaron Anderson, 6 for 75. He needs the ball more. CJ Daniels also needs the ball more. 6 for 56. Kyron Lacey, 3 catches for 23 yards. Non-factor, man. Man, he was a non-factor, was Kyron. And that's nobody to blame but him. Nobody to blame but him. Yeah, I can do that. Interns, you want to go to the team stats then? Yeah, you can go to the team stats up top. We can run through that. Okay. Yeah, let's go through the team stats right quick. Hold on. Let's see them. All right. So LSU was 10 of 15 on third down. UCLA was 5 of 12. That's really good efficiency, man. That's really good efficiency on third down. They were actually 4 of 6 in the first half. On third downs, you went 5 of 12, or they went 5 of 12 total. So that obviously means that they went 1 of 6 in the second half. That's pretty good efficiency. It's really good efficiency. They had 14 rushing yards. You had 101. They threw for 281 on you. What was time of possession? You had the ball for 33 minutes to 26. So physically, I mean, look, I mean, you were as productive, I thought. On third down, you did some good things. It is what it is, man. Look, I'm just going to say this before we get to phone calls. I don't think that you're a good football team. Do I think you have the capability of being a good football team? Yes, I do. Yes, I do think that you have the capability of being a good football team. But right now, you are not a good football team. And that's unfortunate. All right, let's get to them. 225-435-9387. 225-435-9387 is the phone number. If you want to call into the show, we'll give it about 10 minutes or go however long. Talk about it. All right. You're on the phone with Blake Ruffino. This is the AYS postgame show. Who do we have the pleasure of talking to?
Hey, Blake. It's Dakota.
Hey, Dakota. What'd you think of the game?
I thought we started out pretty fast on the first drive. I still think that we got a lot of work that we have to do, but I thought the big play, that huge touchdown pass we had to Kyle Parker was really good. And on defense, I thought Braden Swinson was by far, in my opinion, the best player on defense today.
Let me ask you this. Was he the best player on the field today?
He did make some big sacks.
He did. I mean, my question would be, who would be? I mean, the only other person you'd probably say that was better than him, maybe Garrett Nussmeier or Mason Taylor.
On offense.
Why?
Yeah.
Was he the best player in general? Like, I mean, in general, of LSU's team, was he the best player? I mean, the only other person you could say would arguably be Nuss, even though I don't agree. I think Braden Swenson's the best player that you have right now.
Absolutely. And I hope that Harold Perkins is not severely hurt because we need him, but hopefully he's okay.
I agree.
But I thought we played a lot better in the second half.
I appreciate it, Dakota. Thank you for the phone call, buddy.
Thank you, Blake.
All right. 225-435-9387. 225-435-9387 is the phone number. You can call in. Tell us what you think of the postgame. All right, you're on the phone with Blake Ruffino. This is the AYS postgame show. Who do we have the pleasure of talking to?
Hey, Blake, it's Stephen Young again, man.
All right, Stephen, what'd you think of the game?
I got two big things about this game.
Okay.
Big things. One major and one less major.
Okay.
I'm sick of a Jekyll and Hyde team, and I'm sick of all this talk about culture and doing the little things right when the team itself is not doing the little things right on the field.
I agree.
I'm not calling anybody out. I'm not saying, I'm not going overboard with it. This is not a consistent team.
They are not.
This is not a team that reflects habits of doing the little things right consistently. This is a team, I'd like to see them play a consistent game against West Monroe High School at this point.
I mean, look, here's what I'd say. I agree. I don't think that they're a consistent team. I think they played down to the level of their opponent. I don't know what to make of them because I feel like that we have such a culture that's about me, okay, at moments, because either these guys are not getting it, they don't understand football, or whatever, right? Like that. Here's what I'd say, Stephen. The work ethic of Jaden Daniels didn't rub off to others.
Well, it rubbed off on Braden Swinson, apparently.
Well, they were always around. And you have the same guy that he was with in player personnel, who he talked about this week. So then you have a player that loses his grandmother, and I think that it's something to be said about the players that stood out are on the same side of things. And look, we still hadn't seen Chris Hilton. I don't know why you dressed him out today then. And look, I'm going to leave that alone, but it is.
Well, here's my second thing, and it's less of a deal than that one. But the play calling is not helping the players.
It is not. Oh, well, it is defensively, I think, but
I don't mean defensively. I'm talking about Joe Sloan, and I'm not going to dog on him too bad because some of the things he did was good, but it's not helping the players. I believe that Joe Sloan has told Garrett Nussmeier, never under any circumstances do you run the football until we get to X game, because they don't want to show something on film, and that's garbage. You don't do that.
Well, here's another thing. I also think he's a little bit timid.
Sloan or Garrett?
Garrett.
Well, he might be, but he's run before. We've seen it, and he has athletic ability.
He also got happy feet like the movie in the Penguins in the movie when he was getting pressured last week too, and he did today too. He don't like being hit, brother. And look. Here's what I agree with. I 100% agree with on those zone reads or those principles. He's got to pull it. Stephen, let me give you an example of what you're talking about. It was 3rd and 4. Remember the Mason Taylor play when he leapfrogged a defender?
Yeah.
Okay. What was the play call? Zone read, tight end flat. Was it not? So what?
It was.
So what happened? Everybody sucked in. Pause. Everybody sucked in on the run game, and then the play action pass worked. Everybody's good. I agree with you on the principle. Here's what I'm going to say. I think that they know that Garrett might be a little timid, and they're not running. Maybe I'm wrong, but I agree with the principle of what you just said.
Well, what I'm saying about that is you can open up so much more with just the threat of it. He doesn't have to do it a lot.
Get
He
back
just
to the
has
line
to.
of scrimmage for all I care.
Yeah, I don't care. As long as he does it and puts it on tape, other coordinators are going to say, oh, well, this is a threat.
Right. I agree. No, I 100% agree, Steven.
All right, man.
All right, thank you. All right, 225-435-9387. 225-435-9387 is the phone number. You can call in. What did you think of the game? All right, you're on the phone with Blake Ruffino. This is the AYS postgame show. What did you think of the game?
What's up, Blake? I just got to say this. What is going on defensively? Like, I don't get it. How we keep missing assignments.
So you're talking, you're a little. I could barely hear you a little, but I'm going to ask you if I heard what you said correctly. You said what's going on with the assignments, correct, on defense?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Like, I don't understand how we have fifth-year players and we can't get defensive assignments correctly.
Here's what I'm going to say on that, okay? And this is just my opinion, all right? It can be right, wrong, or indifferent. My God's honest opinion is you've had, for some of these players, you've had multiple head coaches, you've had different coordinators, and you've had different position coaches. The only common denominator of you messing up and blowing assignments is you.
That's ridiculous. I
mean,
can't
am
get with
I
it.
wrong? I mean, am I
No.
wrong in saying that? What is the only common denominator in blown assignments? Because here's the truth. Here's the truth. People weren't blowing assignments when when Blake Baker was at Missouri. That's why they won 10 games last year in the regular season, 11 games. You're the common denominator. Blake Baker didn't become ass. Now, Matt House, he's been more ass than a Kardashian. But at some point, they're going to have to start playing younger players. They started Deshaun Spears and then took him out. They put in Jordan Gilbert, and you got stops when both of those guys were in the game. I think that has something to do with it. You got to get some of these guys out. That's my humble opinion.
Yeah. Also, are you worried about the Harold Perkins situation?
I don't know the severity of it yet, so I don't know. Am I always worried when a player goes down? Yes, I am. But I'm going to throw a curveball at you. I'm interested to see what they do without him.
Yeah, because I'm so tired of hearing people say, well, he's not at this position. He's not at that position. What position is he?
Well, here's the thing. Remember the the reverse that they had? The reverse that they had, and Harold Perkins could have made the tackle and it would have been a third down and he missed it. So
yes.
Right. That's not that schematically you put the player there. But do I want him to be there? Do I think he's a game changer? Do I think he's a playmaker? Yes. The problem is that he can't make open field tackles.
Nope. I've seen it several times this year.
Yep.
So I don't know, Blake, but thanks for taking my call.
No problem. Anytime. Thank you for calling in. Have a good day. All right. 225-435-9387. 225-435-9387 is the phone number. We'll take one or two more because we still got some other games on that I want to go watch. Like, hey, man, like Tennessee just picked the ball off on Oklahoma. All right. All right, you on the phone with Blake Ruffino. This is the AYS postgame show. Who do we have the pleasure of talking to?
Hey, Blake, this is Alex.
What'd you think of the game, Alex?
I've never been so disappointed in a win, I don't think, in my life. We played horrible, man, besides the second half. My thing is, where are the dogs on this team that just refuse to lose and going to get in there and do whatever it takes?
You don't have any.
I don't see it.
No, you
I don't see it at all. You don't. This is not LSU football by any means.
Well, let me ask you a question. What is LSU football?
Well, like I say, you don't have the dogs like you used to have.
Well, here's what those dogs used to do, just to throw this out there. dogs used to be in the right position to make plays.
Yes, exactly.
And then they would make the plays. To your point, I think we got so used to what Les looked like and and we overestimated what Les did defensively. Guys, we're not there. We're not even Alex, we're not even in the same stratosphere as what Les used to put out on the field on defense.
I agree 100%.
Not even on the same stratosphere. Y'all hated that man, and for obvious reasons. His offense was anemic. But
look, I've got buddies who hated on Les Miles, and wanted him going for losing 2 and 3 games a year. And I know it's just Kelly's 3rd year, but what are they doing now? And they love him.
Well, look, I don't think people love him at the current moment, but Les was too anemic offensively. But even the dogs on the offensive line you don't have either, which is going to be depressing.
No. And to me, the play calling is way too sporadic. It's all over the place.
All over the place. There's no plan. I agree.
No, none whatsoever.
Yeah, there's
like
no
last week.
plan. Outside of the first drive, the first scripted drive was fantastic.
Yeah. You make 3 or 4 good runs, and then you get away from it.
Correct.
And you go a quarter and a half before you try to run the ball again.
Correct.
I don't think I've ever been so aggravated with a team in my life.
I'm aggravated with them too. I agree. I'm not mad. I'm aggravated. And I'm going to tell you
the
this,
talent
Alex,
is there.
I'm going to tell you this. You're going to get your asses whooped against Ole Miss if that's what you put out on the field. You're going to get your asses whooped.
Not just Ole Miss. What about next week?
Next week, if you don't come out to play, you're going to get your ass whooped there too.
I don't care what the point spread is. I'm taking the over in that game.
It's going to be probably 62 and a half.
I'm going over.
Okay.
Because if our offense, if our defense comes out and plays the first half like they did today.
Well, here's what I'm going to say. I don't mind Eric Bieniemy, who has multiple Super Bowl rings, taking a first drive down for a score, because that shit's going to happen when you have really good coaches.
Yeah. Well,
but
he definitely has coaches in the first half.
1 second. However, okay, what pisses me off more is that you got a field goal, a 3 and out, and then you forced a turnover, and you got 0 points out of that. So let me repeat what I just said. You got 3 defensive stops. You only give up 3 points, and then you return by getting 0 points. See, I feel like what we do here and what we've done as fans is we look at Garrett Nussmeier's stat line and go, oh, man, he's kicking their ass. Bullshit. When you can't go down, what you do in between the 20s means jack diddly squat when you can't go get 7. And that's the truth.
That's right. And another thing I have about his stats, we played UCLA, statistically a horrible team.
Yes.
Nichols, horrible team. To me, what we pulled away from them is on pure talent and more players that we can get in and out of the game, and that's why we pull away in the second half.
Correct. I agree. Yep. Thank you for the phone call, buddy. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Sure.
All right. We're going to call it. I got shit I need to do. No more important than being with you. We'll see y'all tomorrow. Peace.